Well, I have to admit, it appears I was wrong in my downcast box office predictions for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and it also seems like I'm very much in the minority in my opinion of the film itself, but more on that in a moment. First, this article is from CNBC dated May 15th. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 had best second weekend box office hold for MCU in 5 years. That means that it didn't drop off too much in its second weekend at the box office, so it looks like the film will be a commercial success. The article goes on to say, in its second week of release, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 proved there's still a big appetite for superheroes on the big screen. The film had the lowest second week drop for a Marvel Cinematic Universe film since 2018's Black Panther. The success shows that writer-director James Gunn has his finger on the pulse and has the potential to deliver similar results at DC Studios. Collider had this article, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 exceeds expectations in second weekend at the box office. The Guardians are enjoying one final ride in theaters now. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 continued its reign at the domestic box office this past weekend. James Gunn's Marvel swan song is exactly what the MCU needed to restore faith in the hearts of its passionate fanbase. However, now it looks like the Rocket Raccoon-centric trilogy caper has done even better than expected in its second weekend. Volume 3 has made $62.6 million domestically in its second weekend of release, which is over $2 million more than its original $60.5 million estimate. That latter figure was already impressive, given it only represented a 49% box office drop between weekends. The new number represents only a 47% drop, which is very good, it has to be said. This also means Volume 3 has easily crossed the $200 million mark domestically with $216.5 million. Globally, the film has crossed the $500 million mark with $530.9 million. This is thanks to markets like China, where the emotional epic has already made $58.4 million. This galactic achievement also means Volume 3 has already surpassed Marvel's last film, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, at the worldwide box office in just over 1 full week of release. Well, to be fair, it wouldn't be difficult to beat that film at the box office. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania was a really poor movie. In addition, from an audience perspective, on Rotten Tomatoes, audience scores stand at 94% for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and 7.9 on Metacritic. Very high ratings there indeed. It's clear the film has been well received by fans and general audiences alike. I didn't think the film would do as well as it has, though I suspected it might fare better than Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. This is really good indeed. I personally found the film to be middle of the road. I was glad it wasn't woke, which is certainly welcome. In the film's defense, it does offer decent closure to Guardians' characters, and there's some good action in the movie. The pacing is decent, despite a lull in the middle of the movie, which I mentioned when they go to Counter-Earth. Each character gets to be heroic at some point in the film. The central villain is defeated by the main characters working as a cohesive unit together. Rocket's story has a genuine emotional weight to it, but as I said in my review, the character farewells at the end of the movie do feel a bit tacked on. Spoiler alert in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. The breakup of the Guardians feels a bit arbitrary by the end, in my view, with only Peter Quill and Gamora's farewells feeling really organic to the story. Other than that, the humour wasn't really strong enough for me. Some of it was a bit overcooked in places. There was 1 or 2 decent laughs, to be fair. In my view, it's not so much that the film did a whole lot of things right, but that it didn't do very much wrong. I felt it was safe. And the Guardians of the Galaxy were one of the last major draws left in the MCU, and this being their final film, it seemed like it was always going to garner a decent audience in the cinema. The mid-credit scene reveals that a new Guardians team are now operating under the leadership of Rocket Raccoon. There's nothing to say another film couldn't be done with new characters in the future, and from the end credits we learn from a piece of text that the legendary Star-Lord will return. So, Chris Pratt looks set to come back as Peter Quill, possibly in his own standalone film or in some other MCU production down the line. If you liked Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, good for you, glad you enjoyed it, but I guess people like myself just aren't really the target audience for films like this, and that's fine. I didn't think it was great, but it doesn't matter what I have to say about it because the box office returns and the audience scores speak for themselves. This has been a very good return to form at the box office for the MCU. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to subscribe for more and hit that like button. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.